A discussion about karma and reincarnation can open up a number of questions. If karma is about cause and effect, when was the first cause? Who decides exactly when actions come to fruition? Is there such a thing as destiny or free will? How do different people's karma interact? The reality is, providing satisfactory explanations that dispel all doubts is simply not possible. There are some answers that lie too far beyond the mind. So long as we are chained to this material world, there is limitation, and where there is limitation, there is no hope of grasping the full cosmic picture. The masters and scriptures have declared that the life we live now is just one of many lives we have had. Everything in nature is cyclic, universes expand and contract, planets orbit stars, night follows day, and in the same way, death is followed by rebirth. Krishna declares that just as one discards old garments, the Atma or soul discards its body for a new one. Old experiences end and a new adventure awaits. We are on a cosmic journey where we are constantly evolving through experience. But to grasp this better, we have to understand who we are. Most people believe themselves to be the physical body combined with the voice in their head. We build an identity based on things like our family, profession, talents, nationality and religion. But all of these are temporary and do not survive death. Beneath the conscious narrative in our minds that we use to define ourselves, there are desires and fears sprung from innumerable impressions and traits which have been formed from endless life experiences. These impressions are what we call Samskaras. These are the seeds we carry on to our next life. They define our character and tendencies. They explain why right from birth we display our uniqueness and difference, why we have certain innate talents, and why our personalities have different qualities. But beneath these layers of samskaras lie the real truth of who we are, the Atma. This is the indestructible divine essence of ourselves that is eternally part of God. Nothing in this physical realm can bind or touch it. Yet, for the sake of experience, it remains bound to this material world and the cycle of birth and death. Every incarnation we have is an episode in the larger story of our soul's journey. Each episode opens up new avenues of experience. We may have been male or female, kings or beggars, heroes or villains. Whatever we have been, our true nature, the Atma, is beyond all these identities. The cosmic journey it goes through involves sampling and experiencing all aspects of life. But to give ourselves fully to each role, the memory of previous lives lies hidden and dormant in our consciousness. The intrusion of memories from past life experiences is something that can endanger our current experience. To fully be the father of a child who you remember being your parent in another time can be difficult to handle. But having said that, we can often detect the remnants of past life experiences. When we experience déjà vu, love at first sight, that familiarity of having done something before, we have subtle clues that somewhere within we carry memories of another time, another story we enacted. There are also numerous counts of children who have recalled astoundingly precise details of incidences from previous lives.
Very young children, usually between the age of 2 or 3, who start reporting that they have memories from having had a past life. Some of them talk about being deceased relatives, but others will talk about being strangers in other locations. And if they give enough details, like the name of the other location, people have often gone there and found that in fact someone had died in the recent past whose life matches the details that the children gave.
Investigations into past life experiences have provided serious evidence towards the idea of reincarnation. While samskaras and previous tendencies survive death, it is karma that is the unseen force that makes life unfold. Karma is the universal law of cause and effect. So long as we are conditioned by this physical reality, we are bound to the universal laws that govern it. The important thing to realise is that karma is not some celestial moral personality that judges, rewards and punishes based on some moral framework. Just as gravity makes no distinction between objects, karma too is indiscriminate. It is a non-biased force where everything that happens has an equal and opposite reaction. We may believe ourselves to be good, bad, beautiful or ugly, but our opinions and ethics are ultimately irrelevant. Whatever we put out into the universe, our thoughts, feelings, words and actions, leaves its mark on the cosmic canvas. They create our future experiences and circumstances. Karma is the momentum that makes life happen. All living beings are constantly generating and sowing seeds for further experience. Karma is not designed to teach lessons, although we can always learn from situations. It is designed to allow us to create an experience. Most people walk through life completely unaware of how they are generating karmic results and manufacturing their destiny. Our thoughts are random and chaotic, our intentions can be confused and conflicting, and our words and actions are often inconsistent. But as we become more spiritually conscious and aware of deeper aspects of ourselves, we can become more sensitive to the consequences and benefits of what we think and feel. Even modern spiritual thinkers have realized the power of positive thinking in manifesting desires.
The universe will correspond to the nature of that inner feeling and manifest because that's the way you feel.
So basically what you focus on with thought and feeling is what you attract into your experience, whether or not it's something you want.
Karma is not a response to our superficial whims and fancies, it is a response to our inner state. What we project is what we experience. Karma does not impose suffering or grant fortune, it simply responds. Life situations are neither good or bad, they simply are. It is our expectations of what we want that dictate whether we have been blessed or cursed. One person's apparent difficulty and trauma can be an opportunity to grow, another person's luck, however, can end up destroying them. What one person considers wealth, another will consider poverty. Karma has no judgment in the matter. Good karma or punya is simply that which pushes you to your chosen goal. Bad karma or papa is that which restricts or takes you away from your goal. A belief in karma has been criticized for encouraging indifference to the suffering of others. When we see someone in distress, one could condemn them as rightly facing the justice of their wrong actions. But to write off any person in such a way is unbelievably short-sighted. Any one life is just a snapshot of the soul's cosmic journey. We cannot know the reasons and long-term implications of a person's situation. Saints and masters who have reached the peak of spiritual evolution have often suffered immensely, while evil tyrants have enjoyed wealth and power. Difficulties and success cannot be equated with a person's spiritual worth, they are simply passing clouds on a soul's path. But added to this, a proper understanding of karma does not resign one to selfish indifference. Instead, it warns us of the dangers of such a stance. Krishna makes clear in the Gita that one who sees action in inaction truly sees. The point being made is that our cold attitude and lack of response to meet the needs of a situation is actually an action that bears result. In other words, our lack of compassion is an action that will inevitably breed karmic consequences. Patanjali in his Yoga Sutras outlines exactly how karma is generated. There are 5 kleshas or afflictions that affect us. Avidya or ignorance, where we take that which is temporary as being permanent. Ashmita, having a false sense of identity. Raga, the longing for material desires. Dvesha, hatred for certain material things. And abhinivesha, clinging to life and fearing change. The interaction and churning of all these afflictions is what produces karmic results. These karmic results bind us to this material existence. They create the situations we experience and they propel us forward into future births. Nobody forces this upon us, but the afflictions we carry keep us in the game of life. But there comes a point on our soul's journey where we begin to see that this world and all it has to offer can no longer satisfy us. Material comforts, relationships, name and fame no longer nourish us. We become acutely aware of the temporary nature of everything and that nothing really lasts. From within, there is a longing to ask the deeper questions. Who am I really? What is my purpose? How do I find permanent happiness? Is there something beyond this material world? These questions are the whisperings of the Atma or soul, a soul which is longing to attain moksha or freedom from karma and repeated birth and death. The level of intensity of these feelings is what decides how far we will go to realize the truth. The whole science of yoga is ultimately geared towards stilling the fluctuations of the mind and gaining mastery of ourself. Through repeated disciplined practice, one realizes their true identity as the Atman. We understand that we are not the body, nor the voice in our heads, nor our desires or fears. We are intrinsically divine and part of the Supreme. This ultimate realization, however, can only happen once our attachment and ties with the world have disappeared. Krishna declares in the Gita that only when one has reached a stage of complete detachment from the world and mastered the mind and senses can one be free of karma. Karma yoga is the process of acting without any attachment to the fruits. The true yogi is one who is fully engaged in the world but has no desire and fear, no expectation or selfish motive. He has centered his consciousness on the Atman above and beyond this material reality. As a result, despite being in the world, he is not of it, and as a result, there is no karma generated. Despite walking in the sand, he leaves no footprints. He is a master, ever free and bound by nothing. He is one who exists as a manifestation of divine will, living for the service of humanity. The various traditions within Sanatana Dharma have outlined different ways of attaining freedom from karma and rebirth. For some, there are rigid meditation techniques designed to still our stream of thoughts and transform the mind. For others, deep contemplation and self-inquiry on profound spiritual questions is the way. By analysis of what we are not, we come to what we are, the spirit. In the devotional traditions, we rise to the ultimate state by constantly worshipping, remembering, and absorbing ourselves into our chosen form of God. The intense ecstatic love that is developed captures the mind and heart. It causes every ounce of our being to be placed in a different state, totally fixed on God. Again, the process of bhakti yoga allows one to transcend samskaras and reach the supreme state beyond karma and repeated birth. Woven into the devotional philosophy is also the idea of divine grace, that if we abandon all other methods, if we give up our hankering for material gain and surrender completely, if God becomes the only goal and refuge, then through his love, we will be freed from the binding force of karma. We will realize our true relationship with the divine. The law of karma and reincarnation gives us an insight into the grand cosmic picture of life. It explains the uniqueness of every person, the vast diversity of experiences we have, as well as the huge differences in the way each person views the world. We understand the responsibility we have in creating our path. We begin to realize that we are far deeper than we originally believed. Eventually, the binding force of karma motivates us to seek true freedom. We see the reality that we are a spiritual being entangled in a material world. This is what compels us to take the journey back home. Many thanks for listening.